The first speaker from the afterlife says his name was Isaac Watson, the Jewish son of a Polish immigrant. He says that he had a sense of tremendous relief after he passed out of his life because of his health struggles. This is the voiceover narration recording of his explanation.
As a matter of fact, I had enough of your world when I was there, one way and another, a very unsuccessful marriage, but I wasn't a fit man. My health wasn't good, and I had a long illness, and I was very glad to leave your world altogether. Since I've been here, I've changed a lot of my views. But I suppose it is that one gets so adjusted to the new life, with all its many interests and the many attractions that there are, in all sorts of ways. And gradually, particularly if you've been unhappy, as I was on Earth for various very good reasons, you are very glad to forget it all and settle here and take an interest in life. And now I've become so immersed in music that, perhaps that accounts, or one of the reasons why I've never been drawn back to Earth and that I am so happy in my life here, in music in particular, that I do not feel the need or the urge to come back. And I am sure there must be thousands, millions like me. And I am sure that perhaps for some it is a good thing to return.
In this second recording from a Leslie Flint session, a woman named Jenny Wilson describes how she died in childbirth with her first child, and she found herself and her baby alive and well in the afterlife. In this recording, she describes her body's death as a beautiful experience, bringing her into the realms of happiness with her baby. She begins by describing what happened when she arrived in the afterlife. This is a voiceover of her words.
And I was told that I had arrived, that it all was well, and there was nothing to worry about anymore, that this would be my home, I would be looked after, and the child, and that this would make up to me for all the unhappiness I've known, and that this would be my future place. And they said, don't worry, just be patient and leave everything to us. Just close your eyes and lose yourself. Just be quiet and at peace, and when you come round later, we'll tell you more about everything. But this is not the right way, but just know that you've come home and you're safe, and so is the baby. Oh, it was wonderful. It was as if in some way this beautiful, beautiful experience was to say I had with this beautiful man, and I was told afterwards that this was the Christ manifesting himself as he does. That's the way they put it. And I don't sit many of these things and words and things. Manifesting, they call this his spirit to those who were coming from the darkness into the light and were being received into the realms of spiritual love, and that this was my reception, they called it, and that all was well, and I wasn't to be unhappy anymore, and that my child and I had been given new life in the realms of happiness, as they called it. But it's natural and it's, well, not different really from being born, which is a kind of way you see in a way what it is. It's like being born again, like we was told in the old days in the churches. But of course it's natural, nothing unnatural or strange, and no need worry. I'm very happy and I'm very much well. I'm very much more advanced. I us now, obviously.
A third speaker from the afterlife named Lillian Baylis was an English theatrical producer and founder of a ballet company. She helped her aunt, Emma Cons, operate the Royal Victoria Hall and Coffee Tavern, which she converted into the Old Vic Theatre after Cons' death in 1912. In this audio recording, Baylis explains that she no sooner found herself dead than she realized she was really alive. Language, she explains, is useless in trying to describe her new conditions. This is a voiceover of her words.
I was always in full possession of my faculties, and as far as I was concerned, I was no sooner dead than I was alive. I was very much aware of what was going on, and I didn't find it an unpleasant experience at all. I found myself very much in life as soon I was out of it, and there were crowds of souls that I had known came flooding to greet me initially. There wasn't a dull moment all along the line.
A woman named Maryanne Ross came through in a Leslie Flint session. Just after she died, she thought her death experience was just a beautiful dream. Her dog and a suitor she had turned down were there waiting for her. She described beautiful poppies growing in the afterlife and assures the listeners that no one needs to worry at all about dying. This is a voiceover of her words. It begins after she is asked how she found herself after her body died.
but it's very odd. It was as if the whole room was full of light, and I could see all sorts of people around. There was my mother and my father and my brother who died many years before. And Nellie. She was a friend. One of a few friends that had died only a few weeks. They were all in the room, and I thought I was having a dream about my people. But it was Nellie who came, and she put her arms around me and she kissed me on the face. And it was warm and real. And my mother came. She kissed me too. And they took my hands, and the next thing I know, it was as if I was floating through the window. And then everything went black. I cannot remember a thing until I woke up. And I was in a bed in a very nice room, with rafters and beams and things, like an old house. But it was cosy and friendly, and the sun that I thought was shining through the window. And there was my mother, but she did not look the same as when I saw her in my dream, as I thought. She looked young, as I'd seen her in the picture that used to hang in my bedroom when she was married many years before. And she'd got a white dress and she had a black bow ribbon in her hair. So like I'd seen her in early pictures when I was very young. We used to have everything, collection of old photos that Mother'd keep in the tin. Yes, it was just as if I was seeing her as she was then. She said to me that I was all right and that I'd nothing to worry about and I was not going back, and I thought this is just a dream. And then she said, no, it's not a dream, it's real. You're alive now, you're not to worry about anything. And she said, soon, when you're really recovered over this, she said, we'll go out, we'll meet all sorts of people that you used to know when you were a wee bairn, you know, when you were young. I could not quite see and understand. I could not realize at that stage that I was dead. It was like a beautiful dream. Then there was a dog jumped on my bed, and this really gave me a fright, in a way. Not that I was afraid of dogs, I was fond of animals, but this was a dog that we'd had many years ago, that my father adored and that was killed by a cart. Many years ago when I was, in my 20s, I suppose. And this dog, we called it Nipper. And, do you know, to see Nipper jump on this bed startled me, and I just couldn't realise. My mother said, of course we've animals here too. I thought, well, this is, I just couldn't understand it, if they were dead. As my mother said, that there'd be animals too. And she said, oh, that's nothing. She said, out in the yard, she said, you'll see a lot of other animals too. I just couldn't take to this at all. I couldn't believe. When you've been brought up, as I was, to a religious way of life, you didn't automatically begin to think of animals being here. And then again, I thought this was too natural to be heaven. I thought it would be quite different, and that it would all be, well, like one sees in pictures and religious books, the angels and wings and This didn't seem right. I thought it must be a dream or that I'd wake up, but no. I don't know how long I must have been in this way, but I know that I felt different. I felt as if I was light as air, and I was curious about myself, and I said I'd like to see myself in the mirror, and my mother laughed at me and she said we don't have mirrors here. Mirrors are not necessary. You can see yourself when you know yourself. You don't have to look into a mirror to see how you look or how you are. I didn't understand this at all, but all I know that I felt so different. I felt so young and my body seemed light. I just felt as if I could get up and dance around the room. But my mother said no. Not for the moment, you just wait a wee while, you see. But I'm very happy now, but I must say that I've had some fantastic experiences which I would like to recount from time to time, if it's permitted, Because I think it might be interesting to other people. And as far as people dying, no one need worry about it at all. It's the most wonderful experience. And of course, at first it's a shock. But you soon get over that. And if you know about it beforehand, you know what to expect, which is a great help. You see, and a lot of people don't, and they don't realise that they're dead at first. Takes them a little while to understand, you see.
These people speaking from the afterlife all describe how elated they were to realize they were still alive after their bodies had died. That is the response everyone speaking from the afterlife gives when they communicate to us about their transitions. The transition to the next life is easy and painless, and all people enter a wonderful realm where we will have reunions with our loved ones who have preceded us. We know without a doubt that we will all come to the end of this life, but we will never die.